Hi, folks. Nick Tockert here with the Historical Fencing Guild. Before we get into our goodness, let's talk shop, shall we? I got some bills to pay. Remember, the Historical Fencing Guild is made possible by sales of the Simple Sword, the Fighting Axe, and the Simple Spear. All available through Amazon at www.amazon.com/author/Nicholas Tockert. We're also made possible by my amazing Patreon folks who, without them, I couldn't do anything. And Patreon is the Historical Fencing Guild.com patreon.com/the Historical Fencing Guild. I am sorry if I'm a little out of it. I'm feeling slightly better than I have been, but it's still a matter of, I think I might be a bit feverish. And the house has decided to do hey, it's not sub-zero, so it's going to superheat. Little bit of a challenge. We're also made possible, of course, by Joe Bachman over at the oops, that's the wrong one. I need to find that banner. IndieCD.org. That's the Independent Creator Directory site where, for a low cost, you can have hosting as a place to have yourself and your wares online. It's really cool. So those are the folks who make it possible. You can also support me by buying the Big Stompy Robots related apps through JBuck Tech Apps, and support Joe by buying the rest, especially if you're involved in construction. Now, that's been a bit. We've got quite a few comments, so I want to pop through those, and then we'll go over our topics of discussion. Foxy first through the door. Yay, Friday. Absolutely. We need it. I've nearly survived another one. You and me both. It has been a challenge this week. Sometimes that's all we can do. Yes, and tune into the Historical Fencing Guild at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on the Historical Fencing Guild channel. And Thesis says, finally, pizza and stream. Way to live the life. You need to get Nick's books at Amazon.com/store/Mr. Nicholas Anthony Tockert. Check out Nick's art at deviantart.com/Nick T. Thank you. One channel could contain Nick and his great endeavors, so check him out also on this one, www.youtube.com/@Nicholas Tockert. That's where you'll find Nevermind the Furthermore and Art Time with Nick and a few other programs that may pop up from time to time. And be sure to go to and yes, if you want to donate to our efforts, feel free to make any gift you feel motivated to do at paypal.me/Nicholas Tockert. Anything goes to helping what I do, which is help train people. Yeah. Good evening. Looks like Nick is searching for his lost shaker of salt. I really, it's been a day. It's been a day, Ogre. I blew out my flip flop and I cut my heel on a pop top, and I had to cruise on back home. Hey, Ogre, shoot, he's sick. I almost feel bad for sending you ugly swords in your DMs now. Oh Lord, did you actually send me recently ugly swords? Like just a moment ago? Let me double check. Let me double check, because now I'm a little concerned, because if I... Oh, good Lord, he did. All right, Oh, go! You're going to make me talk about those, Johnny? Grin and almost, yeah. I've been incredibly ill. I got just a very, very bad, I don't know. It's not any of the spooky bugs, just a horrible chest, head cold thing with a fever. It's been nasty. And it's been most of the week. But I'm working my way through it. And we're going to get through it. Almost. Let me see if I can get this to work while I am here, because I have to go to Twitter in the background and try to get that to discuss it, because, oh, Lord, you guys want me to discuss it. Yes and no. let me explain, because there are issues there, but they aren't as bad as you would think if you. Oh, but they're bad. Oh, they're bad. Okay. Let me see if I can get this to. No, I don't want to delete. I want to save the bloody image. I don't want to. But... Sure, we'll put that there. I'm sure I will need to look at that again. I will upload that as a. I don't want to bring that image up. You know what? I will go just put it as an overlay and suffer for a minute. It won't be there long. Oh, I need that one. And then I need to add. Got some technical difficulties. Not bad, but we're getting there. This. Did they not download? That's interesting. I saved it and it did not download. So now I get to look and try to figure out why. Probably because I closed out too early. Okay. That means I have to do that again. Anyway, I will take care of this in just a moment. But while I am dealing with these shenanigans, folks, how is your warm-up for spring coming? Are you guys getting into shape, wielding show in folder? Yes, it's there. I just need to know which folder. Ah, I see. Why are they saving things as weird file types? Okay. That is strange. I tried to save it and it saved it as something else. So we'll just make a workaround. We have the technologies. And I'm going to get this where you guys can see what I am suffering through. And then we will talk, because this is the time of year where it is, in many places, as cold as it gets. And I know Johnny believes that cold is a hoax, and that is his prerogative. I believe people have the right to be wrong or ill-informed. But we'll move this to another window. We'll make this into a new window. There we go. And I will come here. All righty. We are getting there, friends. 9 comments while I've dealt with the shenaniganry. But we will open up with the comment that Johnny had sent me via Twitter, which is actually a good place to get a hold of me. Heaven help me. Okay. Yes, share that. And yes, we are here. One moment. We'll just do. Can I? No, we don't care about that. There we go. This is what Johnny sent me. Now, you would think I'd be hemorrhaging out my eyeballs about these 2 swords. And yes, they do make many cardinal sins. The chief being, let's put totally needless speed holes in a weapon, right? Which you can clearly see above. The cutting edges on the outside, these are inverted crazy sickles. Why am I not losing my stuff over it? I know what they are, and I know why they're set up. So what this is from a Russian quasi-propaganda version of the Avengers called The Guardians, and the characters in it take on Russian historical relevance. So, give you a hint. One of the characters turns into a giant minigun-toting bear. The other, do other related things. And the sickle has history with the Russian people, without getting too far into it. And I do love an agricultural weapon that has been agricultural tool that has been converted into weapons. And I do both understand and have training sickles for the purpose. I even have a live steel sickle, not for any morality or politics, because I certainly don't believe in the symbolism or anything like that, but simply because if the power stops working and the gas quits working, I can harvest things with a sickle, and I need only sharpen it. So they wanted to take that imagery and make it cool. Now, there are many heavily curved swords in Eastern European and Asian in the region. It's very interesting because if you look at that region, you will see almost an inversion of the sword trope, where in America, because we are of largely European descent, the straight sword guys are the good guys. The curved sword guys are the bad guys. And we hold these tropes, literally centuries of it. Later, without really getting the, actually millennia later, without really having the reason behind it. As a weapon with those extremes, that's not very good. A sickle's supposed to be sharpened on the inside, so it gathers the grain stalks, curves, and slices into them, allowing you to more easily cut wheat and other things like that. What this has been done, it's been given to an extreme speed-based character. Now, we're going to ignore the speed holes because they wound me, but it's going to happen. I'm going to say this, and this might shock. I can almost see why having a severely curved edge weapon for a speedster-type superhero could make sense. It would not make sense in most normal things. The ability to defend with them would be a nightmare. But if you are doing run-by slashes and you don't want to risk getting bound up, I can almost see the point. They flow. They flow interesting. And I'm going to get into that. Thank you, Cindy Kett. And they wanted to do something visually different. They are wildly impractical. And it's to the point where most of my viewers are fairly educated, and I don't think I need to explain too much why something that's severely curved and that long isn't going to work well. While I have no personal dislike for curved weapons. Excuse me. And if my voice starts to cut out, I will possibly end the show early. I don't intend to, but if I start coughing so bad I can't be understood, I won't make you guys suffer. Take time, we will be havish. I appreciate it. If you feel yucky, just go and look at the swords. I like swords. You kind of want to delete it. It's fine. No. Bladed. Oh, everybody's greeting each other. Tech difficulty. Call your mech engineer to fix your big stompy robots. Yes! Cursed sword images return. That could happen. Continuing to build Automacity in Gagi, Wu style Tai Chi form, and learning Wasin, cloudy fan form. Oh, that's delightful. I can't wait to see the videos that come of that. You know my tendencies in tech. I'm staying the F away from Big Stompy Robots. Ironically, if you wish to play Big Stompy Robots, it is incredibly rules light and real easy to learn. Because, fantasy should be fantastic, and every once in a while, it's good to play a little outside your bailiwick. I mean, I occasionally play main characters. Evening. Felt the urge to torture with swords throughout the day. Didn't have to go through all this trouble. No, I mean it. That being said, the other reason that they're getting away is if you get a chance to watch The Guardians, it's fun. It is not a good movie, but it's not a bad movie. It's yet a good movie, yeah? No, but it's fun and kind of dumb. And sometimes, especially when you're sick, you appreciate dumb fun humor. I can speak the English language. So what you want to do is have something that will occasionally just flat out amuse you. And I appreciate the torture me with swords because at least you're thinking of me, Training's going well. For the first time in 8 months, I was able to get into a low sweeping tiger stance. My leg wasn't quite parallel to the ground, but I'm getting there. Wonderful. Hey-o. No, the swords from Skull's video today. Johnny, how dare you? I haven't watched Skull's video, and as I need to watch more Skull because I have actually unsubscribed from Skullgrim. Not Skullgrim, sorry. I still am subscribed to Skullgrim. I have unsubscribed from Shadversity over his fragrant fallacies on AI art and trying to support artistic theft and justify it. He did circular logic, and I find that reprehensible. I would give more lenience, but to someone who claims to be honorable, that was dishonorable behavior, and they don't get my attention. That being said, think about it. If you want to be a swordsman and you have super speed, you're running around. The idea has merit. You don't want it to drag. Because if it drags at high speed, it could get ripped out of your hand real easy. So I can honestly see kind of where they might have been going with this. And it is fascinating to see. Hey-o. Oh no, the swords, yes. I had to. Screenshot of Messiah. Evil boy, you. You had me a giant minigun. Yeah, it's great. Nick had less of a reaction because he's sick. Yeah, I am kind of sick. I am sorry. They're hideous. They're impractical. They're moronic. But I see that they're hideous, impractical, and moronic. And after the kit ray swords that you can't even hold, it's like you guys so brutalized me with self-injurious weaponry. I could just go, well, that's dumb. Okay? But no, you can't sword fight with them. But I don't see them as being for that. They're more run by swipey blades, and they're poorly designed, and they have go fast holes. And they're just dumb. They could use such better weapons. They look like they belong like a ram's head. Now we get into a good point. Driz Doerden used scimitars and was a good guy. Yes. However, scimitars aren't considered an exotic weapon throughout the period of Dungeons & Dragons that was launched. The Drow or / Dark Elves, of which Drizzt is probably the most famous member, Badum Cha, are legendary, and his style bother. Anyway, his style is meant to be different. It was meant to look so outside the visual norm of what people thought of when they saw Dungeons and Dragons. R.A. Salvatore was brilliant when he pulled him in and then dropped the only setting you would usually see scimitars are a desert setting. So he dropped them in a tundra winter setting. I mean, it was a fascinating layout of things. And those books were highly influential to me, to the point of greatly affecting the sheer coolness of dual-wielding swords and scimitars in no small amount. The flow is delightful. I found that doesn't match my natural fighting style much. I can make them go, but I think we're better served. You know, okay, well, this guy is here. For me, it's much better to fight. Okay, here we go. Now we have to talk about this, because this is what Drizzt's modern swords are depicted as. Something like this. Both Icing Death and Twinkle have a profile like this. The problem is this is a safe. This is not a scimitar. The scimitars had a wide edge that had a much deeper cut, and they were depicted. Think of the swords from Aladdin. And they changed that for reasons I'm not sure. There was some hint that it was political, but Todd Lockwood, in his 3rd edition art that became sort of synonymous with Dungeons & Dragons 3rd and 3.5, definitely favored Drizzt using something that looked like 2 of these. Now, if you are interested in learning to fight like Drizzt, these are actually wonderful trainers and relatively inexpensive. There is a deep-seated part of me that wants to get to and work on my offline flow. However, that would not be the most beneficial for the guild and for the training. So I won't. I do like the retention of this style of hilt, as I have some grip issues. But these aren't really thrusting weapons. You can thrust with them, but that's not what they're made for. They are made to slice. And you find the penchant for slicing weapons in countries that are unarmored or use cloth armor. Like padded armor, cloth armor, even leather armor, because it's easier to get a good slice draw cut across a bare flesh. You get more than simply bonking and hoping you sever. It's actually a more efficient way to kill somebody. It's also what you do if you have a weapon with a very brittle edge. The slice has less chance of damaging the blade than a hard chop onto bony material. This is why katana are fought in that sweeping, cutting. It's not just a power strike. So if this were katana, I wouldn't just hack. I wouldn't just cut. It's an ovaloid motion to draw, to slice the blade along the edge. And if you are very fast, the faster you go, the more entanglement becomes an issue. The more something like this that can flow becomes favorable if you have the style and inclination to go for it. It is an antithesis of the rapier, so naturally I am intrigued by it. But it was, again, that's part of what made him such an intriguing hero when it began, because that weapon was very much always identified with the bad guys. So he looked like a bad guy. He moved like a bad guy. He was better than the good guys, and he was still a good guy. Okay. One thing to understand, Drizzt was not originally built as a main character. He was not originally intended as that. He became it, and it's delightful. But using overly sarcastic productions, 5-man band theory, and this is good for you writers, look that channel up, Overly Sarcastic Productions. Drizzt was what's considered a lancer. By the 5-man band theory, from narrative standings, characters are usually one of 5 classes in the main group. The hero, you are plot armor, leader, main character, MC. The strong guy handles all the big, strong challenges. The smart guy, and guy is gender neutral. Please understand that. Who handles all the cunning puzzles and tactics and things like that. The heart, who keeps us all together, usually with the power of friendship. But there's another character that has to be discussed, the Lancer, who's usually as good, if not better, than the main character, but has a different moral or background set and does things differently. In the debut novel, they used Drizzt to be a counterpoint of the intended original main character, Wolfgar the Barbarian, who wielded basically a sledgehammer, a returning enchanted sledgehammer, but a sledgehammer. And he was straightforward, straight in the fight, for honor, for glory, And he was learning to think other ways because he was adopted as a child, basically, into a dwarvenish family. It gets complicated. But Drizzt was the opposite. This is somebody who understood tactics and cunning and was incredibly moral, but completely comfortable with slitting the bad guy's throat if need be. And that dichotomy made for such an interesting character for so long. So it's fascinating to see, because we have considered visually, a weapon with a curve has a dirty trick. Ooh. They make curved fencing swords. They make beautiful curved schlaggers. And I got to fight with them twice. And once was at it was the St. Valentine's Day Feast and Massacre in Kalamazoo, Michigan, during Tournament of Champions, I believe. And I got to spar, and the gentleman had a couple of these. He brought them out. Oh, I lusted bad for these because I was still fresh off of my adoration of Drizzt. And they flow, and it's nice. And if you could draw cut people, and I was asked not to use them because that could be an advanced style, and we're not sure you're ready to do it safely. I just did. Tell me what I did unsafe so I could do it. Well, you beat people you're not supposed to be able to beat. And thus truth. But curved swords are different, and I quite like them. There are a few swords I don't like. Now, when they're curved so much they become circular, they don't work really well for their intended purposes. And it's abhorrent to try to use them and not hurt yourself. But I saw that, I'm like, oh, God. But that being said, I'm not willing to let the immersion of a truly fun, ridiculous movie get too damaged. And I think it's interesting that we go there. The katana is one of the most popular weapons. I still find that if we're going to be honest, the greatest edged weapon of all time likely would be the machete. Because the machete has been born in variants of the falchion, variants of the Messer, variants of the Wakizashi, variants of the Dao. You always find a machete if you look. Humanity goes back to the machete time and time again. Many of the Bronze Age swords were shaped roughly like machetes. That single edge, strong spine, it does one thing, it does it very well, will always have a precedent. But it's a agricultural, working person's weapon. Therefore, that can't be the best, the most prevalent sword of all time. It has to be the noble katana that's been folded 60,000 times because it's made of pot steel, less than pot steel, junk metal. I love a good katana. I said it. I love a good katana. A good katana can flow, it can sing. And I respect them. But I don't worship at the altar of the katana board above any other blade. And they will never be my true favorites. They do what they do, but they don't. They shouldn't be so idolized in a very literal primal version of it. It's fascinating though. Yay, facepalm. Katanas are good for what they're good at, but they aren't the ultimate sword. Aha. Low battery status equals battery is 98%. Ugh, I think my computer is dying. Oh no. Sounds like it. Or the battery is anyway. That's because a katana is the ultimate knife Asian messer. I would say a katana is one of the most refined knives Asian messers, and it certainly has the best PR campaign. But look at the sword that, say, Vampire Hunter D wields. Give you a hit. It ain't a katana. Not with a guard like that, my friend. Certainly not with a cross pommel. Luckily, you can buy a new battery in most models cheap. Skull's reviews of LK Chen swords are amazing. Everything I've heard about LK Chen swords sounds amazing. I just don't have the funds with what I want to do in the near future to pursue even most of their trainers, which I know you guys want a review of, but I simply, until some slings are bounced out, I can't afford to do it. Skull is amusing. Yes, he can be. Cough, cough. Long swords for life. Cough, cough. How does that work for you indoors, John, Richie? Is it possible that Shad's not that bright? Shad plays a lot for shtick, and I don't think it's a matter of not being bright. I think he's reasonably intelligent. I think he's highly biased, and I think he has a few choices that I disagree with. And unfortunately, because I am part of the industry of artists trying to make a living and trying to tell the great stories, and to know that most of us have had our art stolen by AI for training without our knowledge or consent, and that they predate on recently dead people to steal their style so they can mass produce it, allegedly as an homage. It is ghoulish and nightmarish and has been handled improperly. The technology exists. It will exist. It will be a problem. But I see it as theft, not only as art, but as the art as theft of income from artists and from experience for potential artists. It is a easy, slick path to getting what you want with minimal effort. And as history has taught us, those are always good ideas. But in the end, I don't know how much of it is not bright, not willing to look and see some things. I mean, this is a man who's dedicated himself to ignoring the laws of encumbrance. Gee, you think? Lurker mode engaged. Okay. I'm sorry, but Shad is a moron. I couldn't stand to watch more than 4 minutes of him because he's such an arrogant ass. Well, I think that might be his persona online. I would rather give somebody I disagree with credit, more credit than they deserve, than be truly diabolical towards them. Trying to be decent. He wanted to swing a longsword in a dense forest. Of course that's possible. Yep. And Rich, most longswords are me size. Not size 2B, literally my size. Go fast hole, sounds dirty. That's why we wash them. I didn't want to have to use this here. I had hoped that somehow it would... Oh, wait, no, I did. I'm prepared. This is not the green room. And if you know, you know. And if you don't, oh, buddy. That's why we wash them. Sorry, I see myself out. It's true. I've got a long-sided trainer. I almost reaches her nose when the tip is on the ground. Rolls eyes. It's true. Claymores are taller than I. Wow. Most famous drow, but Durin is probably the most famous dark elf. Wow. That is such an earworm. Ogre. I say their name wrong without it in front of me, but there is a band, something like Cavades de Profundis, and they do odes to homages to a lot of medieval and Tolkien written and inspired music. The full version of Durin's Day will just put something into your heart. The world was young, the world fair. Durin walked, he walked alone. I can't remember the start of it, but Durin's Day is fabulous, and now that's going to... I know what I'll be listening to after this program. Can't trust drow. Personal experience. Drow bad. Depends on the drow. As a rule, what you do is you trust drow to act like drow. Most of the time, drow will work in drow's most profitable interest. Not necessarily their best, but usually most profit. Once in a while, they'll get stupid, but you don't trust them. You don't trust them to be anything other than what will serve them. And you trust them to betray you at the earliest convenience. If you realize that about them, you accept that if you have to deal with them, you make your deal. Expect it to be or appear to be at a loss, and follow the rules. Let's see. Well, that hip-braced impaling technique doesn't work with a highly... No, it does not. It does not. You need a subtle curve. Dark elves live in the gray quarter. Probably best to avoid that area at night. Wow. Wow. Oh. Apparently, Thesis is a Stormcloak. I did not realize that. The random is strong tonight. Oh, it really is. He was written as Wolfgar's sidekick, but fans loved him. Well, because Wolfgar was a great character, but he was also the classic big, tall, broad, straight line thinking, perhaps a little dumb Thor anecdote. And like a Thor anecdote, a simulacrum. Oh, there's a word I'm looking for. But he was Thor's stand-in, basically. He had to go through a lot of worthiness. And Wolfgar's journey does get interesting. But Drizzt's, I will say the Dark Elf trilogy, the original, the three books that detail the youth and escape of Drizzt Do'Urden are among the best things R.A. Salvatore's ever written. And I've read R.A. Salvatore a long time. I haven't been as fond of his later books because there were a little too much redemption arc for one of my favorite villains of all time, being Artemis Centauri. But sometimes I want a bad guy to just be a bad guy. The Lancer is always the protagonist in everyone's hearts. You are not wrong about that. And I do recommend, if you are a writer or creator, look up Overly Sarcastic Productions, if anything, for their ongoing abbreviated telling of Journey to the West, Kai, as they call it. It is delightful. Plus, if you're a history geek, the stuff that Blue does is great. Trope Talk is amazing. Just go watch that channel after you're done here. And please, if you haven't liked, share, and subscribed, and share this every week, folks. Yes, curved weapons lend themselves to slicing cuts more than stabbing. There's a movement in Chinese Dao where you wrap the blade around. Yes, sir. I mean, you wrap it around your back? I've never seen a short range use of a dao or a scimitar that involves wrapping it behind you to come in for a close quarter strike. That was my cell phone. I don't really care right now. I'm more worried about my mouse getting bounced, but yeah, no. Fluidity is something that the Eastern traditions worship, and the Western traditions find almost heretical. And the flow between the frames is where I find most interesting in any of them, as opposed to the Jin, which is turned from the wrist to the blade goes in front of your face. Yes, I'm familiar with that one too. Falchion lovers unite tomorrow. Well, we got a comment dump. Give me just a second. Alrighty. I don't know, but I know. Put something in my heart, hopefully not a sharp axe attached to an angry dwarf. Would it be the first time? Plug the simple axe. Oh, well, I did the strong axe, the fighting axe, actually. I could do a slightly more simplified, but the Fighting Axe is a great book, and I love axes. Never doubt. There are many things you can doubt about me. You know, many people doubt my species, my preference, but never, ever doubt that I love axes. Axes are elegant. How to get the Fighting Axe? Go get the Fighting Axe. Amazon.com/stores. Mr. Nicholas Tucker. Yes. I need. Ooh, sorry, my net is being bad. I need to do the strong sword and really highlight what's going to happen with the flow. A dishonest man you can always trust to be dishonest. It's the honest ones you have to watch out for, because you can never predict when they're going to do something incredibly stupid. And yes, to borrow one of the great inspirations in my world, or resonance points, If you can't do something smart, do something good. That's my Man Shepherd book, who I need to get a representation of because I stumbled on a wash, but I need to find a book to get up there, I think. But I will see. On the Wall of Cool, any number of strange things can appear, including film screen frames from The X-Files and a movie projector film frame from Vampire Hunter D. He redeems interior, kinda. He was leading that way. A number of the moves in One Sin involve the hand wrapping around above your knob. Yes. You need to do a book about falchions. I do need to do a book on concussive styles. And a lot of that actually does exist in the Fighting Axe. And I mentioned it in the Simple Sword, but I don't go into it the way I want to because it's taken. The closer a style is to my personal fighting style, the more I have to be verbally delicate. I have to be very precise. I have to be gentle and get it just right. And it takes a lot because I have a distinct approach to such things. And for me, because I come from an SCA fencing background as much as any number of things, there will always be a level of mental, I'm being shady by doing this. And am I being shady by teaching it? Because my approach to subtle curved weapons, like a falchion, is aggressive. You see, the rapier taught me calibration and control, and it let me take my anger and my fear and hone it into something I could carve a life out with myself. Life out for myself. And with myself. I'm a very disassociative entity at points. But when you start getting into curved weapons, I find there is a pragmatism there because it's very easy to, like, I take machete deadly serious because that's actively right now. People are like, somewhere in the world right now, someone is getting hacked with a machete. They're just that common, that used. It needs to be respected for how not that it isn't a historical style for me as much as that crosses into modern combatives. I have to be careful with that. I got the Fighting Axe and Simple Sword titles mixed, and I'm not even drunk. Don't worry about it. I do it all the time. Yes, love, tell people about your adventures today. Yes? Can you call that book bonk? Oh, God. That would be a book on sticks. Wait, what? I dug my... Wait. I dug myself a hole. Oh boy. Punk back better. Okay, so I watched Jurassic Park. This is Foxy, not me. The other night, which led to dinos in my dreams, because that's the thing that happens to me. Fair and just, I can understand that. So you dug a hole. You're a true hobbit then, Foxy? Dig a tunnel, dig a tunnel, quick, before the hyenas come. Anyway, well, this time dinos merged with the local fair, so I woke up and told people about my dream. Then on a whim, I emailed the person who was putting the Ren Fair here about my weird dino dream. Now she wants to meet for coffee. It might become an actual event in town. Sounds like a great idea. Jurassic Renaissance. Oh my gosh, that is so cool. And I kind of hate that you're several thousand miles away from me. I'm not going to bring up Johnny's comment. I am going to say that I believe there is a Argonian maid named Hightail. Hightail or Lifttail. Anyway, we are going to just pass that right up. And I have to do that or else I will click Johnny's comment. No, so what I've been up to, I've been reviewing polypropylene weapons. I've been studying, see what new ones are out. And I've run into two things. One, my beloved Perry daggers that Cold Steel put out are not showing up on Amazon. I'm not certain why. I find this problematic. So it may be a good time for anybody who wants one to use the affiliate link and go get some. Giggles, so there will be people in dino suits chasing people around your local park. Since there's tons of fossils, there's a museum free. That's beautiful. Honestly, that's amazing. And I think that's just great to do. The answer is no. You would not want to use swords to deal with any threat like a large dinosaur. Melee weapons would be nightmarish. Obviously, spears or pikes that you could anchor and leave if you need to, depending on the size of the beastie. Because I know you guys will ask, okay, Nick, how would you fight dinosaurs with melee weapons? And this ties into, I think there's yet another Monster Hunter coming out. So, yes. Oh, wait. Yep. Oh, pikes and arbalasts. Yeah. Somebody's played Monster Hunter. Quite possibly. And if that happens, she wants to dedicate it to her dad because he's the one who got her into dinosaurs. Thinking that inflatable T-Rex race where people can cheer on their favorite. It sounds like a great event. In all honesty, it's a brilliant idea. Especially where you are. Let's see. Light weapon on fire. Hope the bright colors distract the thing. Run. Honestly, a lot of dinosaur hunting would have to be done via what did they call it? Pursuit, basically slow pursuit hunting. You have to get them going and just drive them to exhaustion. That's how we killed the mammals and most reptiles. And reptile akin things do not have a long-term stamina. And then it would get interesting into how bird-like versus reptile-like any given dinosaur is. I think it's a matter of it's all about prepared battlefields because any of your theropods, what you're looking for is the trip. You get them down, possibly, pudgy pits, trip cords, anything to knock them off their feet. Getting them to go where you want to is not hard. Bait just has to happen. And persistence hunting, thank you. Yes. And you just run them into the ground. It's harder for things like velociraptors because you have a peak size for us to deal with where they're more they can get into places we can get into, especially since the velociraptor is about the size of a turkey. And while that sounds not that bad, I don't want a pack of those coming at me. I think actual cat-sized velociraptors, cat to turkey, with claws that go like this, that would be more than enough to be problematic. A full-on Dionysius with the that is what you think of when you think of raptor or a Utah raptor or something like that. That's just nightmarish. But something small like that could pack hunt and take you down hyena style, just Gives me the weeblies. You have a plan to handle the Hogfather too. Now that's a plan to keep you in your back pocket. Dear Lord. And dang if I didn't just find out that there's second season of Shannara Chronicles. I wonder if I can find it. I blame you for me finding this out. It happens. Yeah, Utah Raptors. Nope. Godcred, man. Colonel Colt made them equal. Go Turok on those dinos. Just trying to get my cardio fixed, man. Sounds like a pack of raptors can do the trick. Till you fall. It's like, I guess not, a couple of years ago, there was a it's going to sound funny till you think about it. A pack of wild chihuahuas was running amok right across the border and into Texas. And, it sounds hilarious till you think of 40 of these little buggers mobbing on you. And I think some people died before they got wiped out. Because okay, I see what happened. Yeah, my voice is cutting in and out, Joe. That's Jody McPhee. I drank warm tea all day and didn't speak much between these two programs. But we'll raise them for babies. Maybe. But reptiles are really... getting pack bonding might be challenging. If it's doable, awesome. And it's not tea time. It's pronounced... Okay. Oh, I mentioned Manu Bennett on Twitter. Made me remember. Yes, I had very late last night the thought that Manu Bennett could voice. He could play Drizdo Erden, but giving age and situation, more likely to voice an animated version of the Dark Elf trilogy or something like that. Just make the drow purple and have people not be crud about it. Manu Bennett could be great. And I have an ongoing headcanon that the drow are basically Australian, and I cite my reasoning on my Twitter page for why the drow should be either Australian or New Zealanders. With the penultimate that Jessica Negri would be an amazing drow matron. Cool. And live action is overrated anyway. Abso-fragging-lutely. I am enjoying the absolute heck out of Vox Machina, even though it's woefully inappropriate. It is my late. I usually have one ongoing series I keep as my late night goodie. I was using Castlevania in that I had the DVDs. I think I have like the first 2 seasons or 3 seasons. But I don't have the whole series, and I need to acquire the whole series. I've seen through the end of the second, and I need to start the third. Because I know there's something about a redheaded vampire I've been informed I need to be notified of. But it'll be a matter of getting there, because I only get that when Xander's asleep. Either I get up real early in the morning, or he goes to bed, and I'm like, really? Wait. Overrated. I think it's depending on the critter. Ones with herding instincts would be more likely to ban. If we had the option, yes. And size manageability. So Protoceratopsians. It would be interesting to see how the ceratopsians work. Theropods are dicey, but they're smart. So it would be really interesting to see just how smart they are. Animation is way better because reality need not apply. Absolutely. I'll be honest, I didn't know they did a series of the Shannara Chronicles. And Alanon the Druid is phenomenal. I guess he never read the books, but Foxy did. So I have a complex history and association with the Elfstones of Shannara series. I read some of them in high school, but it has associations with somebody I used to know. So I ended up not reading them any further for many, many, many years to think of it, because there are associations I didn't need to go looking into. And not a public discussion scenario. I'm allowed a few secrets. They're making a live action Saint Seiya. It'll suck so hard. Well, probably, but there is hope, because the live action Rurouni Kenshins were amazing from what I saw. Gwenvar is not a battle cat or panther. No, I agree wholeheartedly. Keep in mind that Thesis calls me a Disney princess. Even wild animals will walk up and be social with me. Yes. My son is that way. I can be that way sometimes when I'm at my best. The series was on MTV back in 2016. Okay. And I guess second was on Spike TV. I'll have to look into that. Thank you. Nah, Netflix is making it. Have no hope. Okay. That's possible too. But we went off topic, so I need to talk about a few things before I can actually end this program. I am questing for at least 4 more of the Cold Steel Parry daggers to balance out my collection. I intend to get more the dagger trainers. Obviously, I can't afford live steel anything right now. With those, I'll be able to do some stuff. Now, big notice I'm going to talk about for a while. July 28th, weather permitting, in New Chicago, which is a little town, I will say off 41, south of Chicago, at their park, yours truly and as many of the guilds as we can get will be trying again to do an opening promotion, an opening presentation, sparring, things like that, for the Chicago Shakespeare, the Gary Shakespeare Company. As details arise, I will let you know more. It will be on a Friday, which means this program in July will likely be canceled. Now, depending on situation, it will either be live streamed from the actual event, but very likely it will be simply be recorded so that I can manage the audio and not get copyright struck. Okay. Netflix is making it. I have no hope. Oh, the redhead vampire. Yeah, however careful you think you have to be, triple it. Wow. Okay. Let the bodies hit the floor. Anyway, it amuses him because animals that hate everyone will come and sit on my map, other than birds. Now, here's the problem, Foxy. Because a little moment later, you talk about domestic birds dislike me. I have had chickens of various sizes. And I will tell you, there are fair few creatures more diabolical than a bantam rooster for pure unadulterated evil. Your everyday rooster is an evil creature. Understand this. But a bantam rooster, as a law, when those hormones hit, they hit hard. Had I known, I would have had Cutie Capon early, so I didn't have to deal with it. I lost one of my best fluffy friends because he had hormones and became an asshole. And I'm sorry, pardon my language. Not the green room, but he cut me up bad. So yeah, cats do the same to me. Nick's Books, Amazon.com/store/Mr. Nicholas Anthony Talker. Thank you. Domestic birds dislike me, and check out his art on that. Cats do that to me. I'm pretty sure they know I'm allergic. I'm literally allergic to everything. And go support his efforts to empower others through killing people safely. Patreon.com/the Historical Fencing Guild. Yep, southeast of Chicago. Who knows? Maybe you can make it, Joe. It's not terribly far. Please go check his other YouTube because one is not enough. YouTube.com/Nicholas Talker. At Nicholas Talker. I used to be terrified of dogs when I got attacked by one when I was little. Foxy cured me now pretty quickly. Now random dogs will come up and demand scritches. Don't forget to tip your host. My solution to redheaded vampires is to not be in that universe. Not sure how to triple that. The wonderful thing about the mix of faith, folklore, and an inherent imposter syndrome is that whenever anyone terribly attractive shows any positive interest in me in any way, shape, or form, the vast majority of my mind expects it to be a trap. And whenever I innately trust someone upon meeting them, I immediately freak out because I should never trust anyone. I have fail-safes, and apparently that vampire requires all of them, which I find fascinating. I was also scared of dogs. Mom said because a dog nearly took her out of the life server when she was pregnant. Wow. Weakness for redheads. It's a common ailment. Even I have a YouTube. YouTube.com/@CindyKep. Yes, it's not there much on it, but it's there. And we all need to subscribe, get her numbers up on principle. How did I not have that sub? Thanks for the link, Cindy. Yes, you do, Thesis. Alrighty. So I was going to talk about how to get back in shape and what to focus on, but danged if the chat didn't have so much fun talking about dinosaurs and vampires that we lost track that this is a sword fighting show. That is okay. And Thesis has a YouTube as well. Also very little of it. Thanks. Well, I tell you what. All of you who have YouTube channels, I know the solution to this. Where's my phone? All of you who have YouTube channels, what we will do is a little bit of good old-fashioned cross-promotion. Go to the, after we're done here, go to the Facebook, the Historical Fencing Guild group, public, and I will make a chance to share your channels. And we'll just do it there, and then everybody can subscribe if you're in. Look and subscribe if you're interested. I have to be very careful not to say this is not, and clearly this is not a you subscribe to me, I subscribe to you. That is not what I'm saying. I would never promote that because one, that's kind of underhanded, and two, that is actually against the terms and services of YouTube. So do not ever think it's something like that. But if you want to put it out there so people can understand it, let's see. This is that. Oh, that's the wrong one. That's the scheduling group. I have to talk to them. And as soon as this clarifies, thank you. Please comment your channels here. All right. There is a comment up there. It is off topic, but I'll let it go so that we can get our references, because many of you, I want us to start putting up videos, start recording what you do. And if you want, I will happily review them live here. Okay? So next week is Sword Fighting Dinos. Next week we're going to talk about getting back into shape and how the steps that everybody can do to, within a reasonable amount of time, become a better swordsman or woman or sword, whatever you identify as. Sword velociraptor, whatever. Beyond that, guys, because as I can feel, I need to get some tea. My throat's starting to hurt rather badly. So, guys, get out there. Do your drills, because the only way we're going to be able to do this, I'm now back in training. I want to get in shape by the end of July to be able to do that and not die. So, have fun with the mental image. There are a lot of mental images. Got Mike this week, so maybe I can record some audio to it. And I'm hoping to feel better. I'm certainly will. Not dying is a good plan. But that's my goal, and that gives me a framework to work towards. That being said, I'll be doing my drills, you do yours. Keep your eyes open, because you don't know if there's velociraptors in the tall grass. Be kind to yourself and each other, because, at any minute, a T-Rex may eat you. And as always, folks, thanks for supporting your local sword master. I will see you all very soon. Thank you, and huge shout out to all my patrons. Again, you guys keep me going. Have a wonderful night.